Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome to Mystics Outlook. We got Raymond Lies checking in live from Care First Arena. Want to make sure I did not use the former name because it still hasn't left my mind yet. But Ray, you took an Commissioner's Cup matchup today. This is the second time you've seen the Liberty in what less than a week with the take on the Mystics. We saw John Quill Jones go down early in this one. Hopefully, wishing her a speedy recovery. That said, we saw Washington have one of those really rough quarters against New York, and then we saw him fight back and make a run for the thing. But you were in the building. Your thoughts on how things worked out tonight?
Yeah, man, they just got to stop putting themselves in a position where they're playing from behind. Those two middle quarters doomed them. They lost the second and third quarter, 56-35, but they won the first and fourth quarter, 33-30. So if they just make those two a little more manageable, then who knows what the end of this game looks like. But yeah, it's the same things that's been plaguing them all season: inopportune turnovers, and them not making threes and not being able to defend the 3-point line. That's a recipe for disaster, especially against a team like this. They had 14 turnovers for the game, which isn't a huge number, but the bulk of them came in the second quarter leading into the third quarter, and that's when the Liberty kind of took control of the game. You can't give this team extra opportunities. They have enough firepower as it is. Um, but overall, I mean, not terrible. The Mystics, they shot, I believe, 42% from the field. But they shot 43% from the field and held the Liberty to 42.6. So I mean that the difference was made up elsewhere, with the turnovers again and them just not capitalizing. Another thing that kind of stood out to me, they had a lot of defensive opportunities that they weren't able to feed off. Couple plays that were where they were like near steals, uh, ended up being Liberty buckets. You got to make those plays on the defensive end, especially in a game like this. Um, Kiki was off to a hot start, but then she got into some foul trouble, which kind of slowed them down a little bit, where they weren't able to take advantage of John Quill going down. Which absolutely sucks. Hopefully she's okay. But yeah, that's the Liberty. That's when they made their push. After the John Quill injury. So so yeah, it's just a lot of things to clean up. We talked the other day about Jay Melvin needing to be a little more aggressive offensively. And she was looking for a shot tonight. And it's not like we need her to take 20 shots a game, but you need to make the other team account for you on defense. And she did that. If you go into this game, you tell me that Jade outscored Sabrina, I'm thinking the Mystics win. But Stewie did Stewie things, and Kennedy Burke, she was a sniper. I think all her field goals were threes. Um, and yeah, man, it's just again those middle two quarters. You can't let go of the reins that much. There's basketball's a game of runs. We all know that. Liberty going to make a push. Mason's going to make a push, but the Liberty's push can't be that far exceeding of the Mystics. That's how they put themselves in a position where they basically had to play perfect just to get back into the game, and we saw that. But Liberty's just too good of a team to play that way. So yeah, that's why you get the results you get.
Yeah, another thing I think one of the biggest things you talked about was not being able to capitalize on getting consecutive stops, and it happened several times late in the game. They go down there, they play outstanding defense, couldn't score. You playing great teams, you have to make them pay. They weren't able to do that, and it cost them late. Sometimes it also felt like they were just in a rush late. Um, and that's again we've heard throughout the broadcast. We know this firsthand. One of the youngest teams in the league, possibly the youngest team in the league, and some of the times when that shows up is late in contest. And Slim didn't have her greatest game tonight, and she wasn't alone in some of the stuff that went wrong late, but just literally rushing a bit. I think one play, Jay tried to pass, the ball got tapped back to her, and immediately went to pass it again, like just settled down. And I think Liberty player jumped the passing lane, and they got it, got a bucket. And I think Slim went to try to get the block, and I think it was Easy Harrison made that play, and that almost like pretty much put the game out of reach right there. And it was just those little things. But again, credit to them for fighting back and getting back to this game, making it a very close game. But like you said, 32-12, you can't have those quarters. You don't have enough. You don't have the luxury to have a quarter like that and be like, all right, we'll just hang 40 on them the next quarter. That's just, that's just not what you are right now. And also, this might have been the first good game Stewie's had against the Mystics in her entire freaking career. I think she averages about 15. She came into this game averaging about 15 for Washington. 15 points a game against Washington, which is the lowest in her career against any team in the W. Jonquil goes down, and again, talk about the things that you had in your favor. She typically, literally, the night that she has is a normal Stewie night, but it's not normal for Washington. Washington usually does a number on her. Also, credit to them for slowing down Sabrina Ionescu. I think last time they played, she had 28 last week. So they did a much better job in that regard. Folks, we see your comments. We'll get to them in just a minute. If you have nothing else to add, Ray, you know what I got to ask you next. Player of the game.
Let me think. Stewie, man, she was amazing. And it looked like, typically you brought up how she normally doesn't have these type of games against the Mystics. It didn't even look like she was working hard, to be perfectly honest. She just found a good groove and stayed there and carried them through the game.
Yeah, and talking about teams that have that luxury is you lose Jonquil Jones in the second quarter of a game, and you ask your other MVP caliber player to, can you get us through this game? And the answer is, yeah, cool, no problem. Again, the luxury, the embarrassment of riches that New York has. X factor in this one.
I'm gonna go Kennedy Burke, man. Like I said, I think all their field goals were threes, and every one of those threes was either to stop a Mystics push or advance a Liberty push. Like those were big time opportune shots, and she hit them.
Yeah, that's exactly. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I was going to pull up what she's shooting for the year because on the broadcast they kept mentioning it. You can't leave Kennedy Burke when you play the Liberty. Let's just make that clear. She's shooting 52 from the floor this year. All right, she's shooting higher from three than she is the floor. 51.3 from the floor, 52.2 from three. Can't leave her. We already know all the other players you can't leave in New York, but yeah, she came through and like you mentioned, it felt like every shot she hit was Tukwila Mystic's run all night. All right, we'll get to some of these comments. We'll start with again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and for commenting and joining the conversation. At least we got our next star, Kiki. Yeah, Kiki's off to a hell of a start. Hell of a start. Doug Dame, yes, I think at this point is legit. She seems to get better and more comfortable every game. We might have one. Agreeing with the area at 11. Can someone teach Citron how to be more aggressive and how to use a pump fake to get downhill more? Ray, did you want to chime in?
I mean, yeah, I think somebody in the comments a few games ago asked what we thought some of the rookies needed to improve on throughout the season, and that's one of the points I touched on for her. Yeah, just definitely her getting more comfortable getting downhill at times when, like, sometimes things just ain't working and you got to get the ball in the basket. She's got good size, she's mobile, and she can finish. So she definitely needs to add that into her game more often because she has the capability. We've seen it. It's just like she just got to be more mindful of it. Like the one play, she got the ball in the wing, did a nice jab step, got into the lane and finished. That type of stuff. She definitely needs to mix that in a little more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think it's one of those things that like that's something we should revisit like post All-Star break. Like again, it's a rookie. She's finding her way, and I know they both got off hot starts, but they are both still rookies. Still a lot going on. So, something to revisit as the year goes on to see how that progresses. But we know she's a knockdown shooter, very good defender. It's a part of her game that I'm sure will develop as as time goes on. Great point. It does seem like everybody's sped up, but I think that's the young part. Melbourne definitely needs to slow down and will take her game to the next level. I think that's also a thing with Jade. Another reminder, she's been in the league a little bit, but she's also still young. Like, it's not like she's been in the league 3 years and been running a team like her own show for 3-4 years. That's not what it's been, because she was in Seattle, I think, at first, and she was just a young player on Seattle, including their depth that wasn't even in the rotation fully. Agree, Citron has to realize when we get into scoring slumps, third overall pick has to get aggressive. Again, with y'all, I just think this is game 9. And I'm not saying y'all aren't wrong or anything, but like it's the 9th game. Let's just see how it goes. It's the 9th game. The overhelping is a problem for me. Yeah, that's something that's cost them at times. I know we've numbered those things in different games where it cost them helping out the corner. I forgot what game that was a couple games ago, where I might have been on the road trip, helped out the corner, gave up a huge 3, just things of that nature.
Vegas. It was a Vegas game winner.
Yeah, because Jewel hit the one shot that she hit that night was. Thanks for. It also feels like they stopped running the action. Citron was doing well off, but she's got to get open quicker. Also, with that, one of the things Cardell loves to talk about. These rookies are on folks' scouting reports. They dealing with that too. It became clear that with with this New York second time seeing them, they did not have the freedom of movement they had like 4 days ago. like clearly, take away Sonia's airspace was a discussion. She hardly had any tonight. Hey, that's how you know they got a lot of potential for sure. But also, like, it's 9 games, y'all. Can we take a deep breath? It's like at least 30 some more games. Like, let's just relax. But again, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for hitting the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time they have a game. I think they have a little bit of a break before they get back to action. So we'll see you guys then. For Ray and myself, y'all have a great evening.